There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What does the worker gain from his toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on men. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done. They cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for men than to be happy and do good while they live. That everyone may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all his toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that men will revere him. Whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. The gift of God, eating and drinking and finding satisfaction in our toil. Oh my, how we take for granted the ability to enjoy life. I have no idea when I wrote those. Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a faithful follower of Christ, and I am addicted to sugar, flour, and binging. And this is my final YouTube video, YouTube video. A time to upload videos and a time to not upload videos. There's a time for everything. There's a season for every activity under heaven. And this has been a blessing to me. When I made my original bright line eating video, I thought maybe that was going to be it. And that was Mother's Day. And then so in May, and then in October, I made my 1-year update videos, and I am so glad that they have been a help. And then from there, I just obviously had so much more I wanted to share, and I'm so glad to have shared it. And you guys are so kind and generous to give me the feedback that you've given me about just specific ways that some things that I've shared have helped. But I feel like Forrest Gump. That part at the end where he says, and I just looked it up because I wanted to hear it. Where he says, and that's all I have to say about that. I feel like I've said just about everything I could possibly say about bright line eating. And so this has turned into somewhat of a vlog, which I'm not a vlogger. I don't want to be a vlogger. It's why I got off Facebook in 2009. It just felt like a burden to me to keep the world updated on the cutest kids on the planet, because don't we all think our kids are the cutest? But anyways, I just found myself in 2009 staring at my computer a lot and telling my kids, I'll be right with you. I'll be with you in just a second. And I've been hearing myself say way too much of that lately. So there's a lot of logistics involved with streaming these videos together and then editing them and then adding pictures and adding the music. And it's been really fun. It's been a creative outlet. And don't us moms need creative outlets? But I'm sensing, prayerfully discerning, that this chapter, this little season, this experience is coming to an end for a handful of reasons, especially because I'm starting to recycle some of the things I've said in a lot of my videos. I'm starting to get um, to the point where I'm sort of like, well, what could I put out there? I've shared about everything I can imagine to share. At this point, I'm just showing you exactly the ins and outs of what I'm doing. And that's really to each his own. You know, we're all going to have our own exact specifics involved. But even just the uh, it would be interesting to see how YouTubers manage um, that amount of footage, all these videos and all these pictures on my phone. I'm like swapping out SD cards. I thought the other day, if my kids, especially these last couple, when they're in elementary school and they're like, "Mama, I need a baby picture," I'm gonna be like, "Well, there's a jar of SD cards in my bedroom. Just start popping those in the laptop and see what you can find." And they'll probably find tons and tons and tons of pictures of food and then a couple baby pictures. Anyways, there's just some logistics involved here, a lot to manage and organize. And I have lots to manage and organize around my home. I don't have to tell you all that. You know that. I walked in tonight and I saw my husband. I went to celebrate recovery. And then I saw my husband sitting at the bathtub. Our one bathroom. He was sitting at the bathtub on a stool, and my 16-year-old was sitting next to him, and they were both working on something that was in the bathtub. And I was like, oh no. And sure enough, it was what I saw once years ago. It was a calf in our bathtub, our only bathtub, fighting for its life, and it did not make it. So sad. They did everything they could. Calves are being born left and right now. They brought this one in to warm it up and to tube it and like get it to eat, but it was already like struggling. It was just in really bad shape. I think it had been. Calves are being born and the weather is bad, and this is really, really sad, but sometimes they just are born and then immediately get stepped on because it's a mess out there. And this one had been stepped on. Anyways, they got the calf out, and my son is in the midst of cleaning the bathroom up now. But he had to leave with my husband again because there's 2 more baby calves that they have to go out there and like, it's 10:30 at night, and they're just working so hard. And when they work this hard, I want to be able to work I want to be able to do what I can to support them and their efforts. So anyways, we have a lot going on, and you all know we're about to renovate this old place. That's a very old log behind me. So we're in the midst of that. So I sense a really busy season around the corner. I'm sensing that, like where I don't have a roof for a while or a kitchen for a while. And I promise you I'm going to be doing all I can do. I'm going to keep these lines bright. I'm feeling more convicted than ever to keep my lines bright. And like Paul says in 1 Corinthians 9:27, it's just one of my very favorites. he says, "Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like a man running aimlessly. I do not fight like a man beating the air. No, I beat my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." So, I will be keeping my lines bright, and I promise you I am going to finish strong that 35-day challenge. I think it goes through March 12th. I will choose one of those numbers and get my sweet Samantha a gift from the dollar store. I will still check in up underneath that video. I just binged and let you guys know that my lines are bright. And God's opening a couple doors for me locally as far as ministry kind of stuff related to Celebrate Recovery and eating issues and addiction. So I'll be helping out there more. So that's all really good stuff. Again, I answered my call to ministry March 15th, 2015. And I was pretty intimidated by the idea of officially answering my call to ministry until I looked it up, and ministry just means to meet needs. And there are so many needs to meet right under my roof, and my kids don't have any backup or substitute moms. So you're looking at her, and I want Mary to perform her little puppet show for me that she was wanting to do the other day, and I was like, no way, go to bed. I want to lay in this bed and actually watch an entire movie with my kids. I usually either fall asleep or just get them going on the movie, and then I find myself lately like getting them going. I'm like, okay, all right, here's your bath. Holler at me when it's freezing cold. I'll be in the kitchen. Or here's your movie. Watch your movie. So anyways, I'm just chatting away here, and I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to add anything to it. You all have seen all the before pictures. I'm not going to add music. I'm not going to edit this. For one thing, because if I do, then it takes up all that storage on my phone. Anyways, not a problem. Philippians 2:14, do all things without complaining or arguing. I refuse to complain about any of this. I'm so grateful for the connections that I've made with you guys. When I say I love you dearly, I love you dearly. And I want you to know two things. Number one, I'm going to put my email address in the description below. So you can click on that, and there's my email. And if you ever want to just shoot me an email or let me know how your program's going, give me some good news about some behaviors you've been able to modify, that'd be great. Feel free to keep in touch. And I also I just want to encourage you, like I have several times. If you don't know Jesus, I just highly recommend you get to know him. We are headed into a new season, which is wonderful. So, good news, Saturday, March 20th is the first day of spring. From there, we get to celebrate Easter, Resurrection Day. Of course, the darkest day is that Good Friday before Easter. when Christ was crucified. But then 3 days later, he rose, and he spent 40 days after he rose from the dead. He spent 40 days on earth, and performing miracles and teaching and preaching. And 40 days after resurrection is when, after his resurrection, is Ascension Day, which I know the Mennonites that live around me, they celebrate and shut everything down for Ascension Day, when Jesus rose and sat at the right hand of God the Father. And then 10 days after that was Pentecost, when the great wind came. That's Acts chapter 2. And the apostles received the Holy Spirit, which was what Jesus had promised them would happen. So here it is. When the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Suddenly a sound like the blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them. So anyways, I just want to encourage you guys to celebrate Easter and get to know the reason behind these seasons. And as I know so many of you do, and here, especially in the U.S., we make such a great big deal about Christmas, which is wonderful. But like my sponsor, my Celebrate Recovery sponsor, was talking to me about one day, she said, Christmas is absolutely wonderful, but that is literally just the beginning of Jesus's life and ministry. He lived for 33 years. So the Old Testament is all about God, but it talks all about Jesus. They are one and the same. The New Testament starts with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and that is the beginning of the story of Jesus. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that's each of their different separate accounts of Jesus, and Luke is where the Christmas story is in the book of Luke, as we know it. And then Acts is where we learn about the Holy Spirit, and then you get into all the letters from Paul who was Saul. So anyways, I have so much to learn about this Bible, which is why I started that Bible reading group, because I thought I claim to live by this. The word is alive, and I very much live by it, and I aim to live by it. And I thought, before I die, I want to read every word of it. So that's my mission with this Bible reading group that I lead. But anyways, you guys, I am going to stop now. I just want you to know that I love you dearly. I sincerely hope and I will pray for you on your journey. It's been a joy connecting. Again, my email will be below if you ever want to just send me a hello or keep in touch. But everything has a season, and it's very important that we discern as God leads us in. I've always said it's just as important that we discern Him leading us out, so that we can be ready for what's next. I love you guys. Take care and stay bright. Bye.